we're back. Quarter talk. We have who I say is one of Australia's biggest prospects, returning on the show because she's fighting Saturday, February 25th, this Saturday at UAE Warriors against Josefine Knutsson, both undefeated fighters. So, for someone who has been taking all these fights like all over the world, how have you been settling in to Dubai? Like, and how's the acclimatization?
It hasn't been too bad. Everyone here has been really helpful as far as providing like kind of downtime when you need it and food and meals at the times that you need. So and our schedule's not too crazy as far as events. Like we have big gaps between things. So yeah, it's been not too bad so far.
So it's like a
We've
lot
just
of.
been trying to stay up.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, go.
No, continue.
The hardest part, we've been trying to stay up late, so that we're not tired at fight time, on Saturday. Yeah, because our time here is like 7 hours behind my Sydney time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to stay up a bit late at night.
Yeah. It's not. So what are you doing
Yeah.
around on those times and stuff? Because something I've noticed, like you always seem to have this very stoic and like calm, unbothered demeanor. Are you completely unbothered, and are you stressed at all? Do you have any stress?
Nah, like honestly, I feel like I'm kind of in my element. Like this is what I'm supposed to do. This is the job I wanted to have. So now that I'm kind of doing it, I feel comfortable. I
Yeah.
think the life suits me. I'm not stressed. I've always got like not fear, but the pressure of the fight in my mind. But I'm not rattled as far as interviews, travel, opponents talking shit. Doesn't rattle me.
Yeah. We're gonna get to that part too, because there's been a lot of shit talk. So what do you think makes you that way? Because you do have an extensive. You have a record basically in every combat sport almost, that it's been all across the world. Like, I mean, I'm sure that plays a part, but are there any things you can pinpoint that make you that way, and this early in your career?
I think I've just thought about it for so long, and I've pictured myself being in these situations for so long that now that it's here, it feels natural to me because I've thought about it for such a long time. And it's also just part of my personality. I don't really get too bothered by much, really.
Yeah.
Like try not to let too much of anything affect me. Just try and keep it. I don't want to stress for no reason. I hate stress. I hate chaos. I don't want to feel the uncomfortable feeling of being stressed and uncomfortable. So I just don't put myself in positions really where I'm going to be. Yeah.
And how did this opportunity come about, and why UAE Warriors, which I think is a pretty big organization? It's a massive feeder into big organizations too, since it came on UFC Fight Pass. So how did it come about?
So I've been like, it's always a struggle for me to fight in Australia because of the lack of females. Last fight we fought someone from New Zealand, so that was stretching it a little bit more. But as far as local competition, I was all out of competition, and I would prefer to be going overseas, knocking on other people's doors and fighting bigger names rather than collecting wins at home against lesser opponents. Like, there are a couple girls there that if we really wanted to make it happen, I probably could have fought, but I believe that they were significantly below me, and beating them doesn't do so much for my reputation or development. So I prefer to come overseas and challenge these bigger names and make myself a better name off it. The fight came through my management, Phoenix Management. They've been talking about UAE Warriors to me for the show was initially supposed to be a month ago, so the 25th of January, and they only gave us 3 weeks notice at that point. So it's a little bit rough off the back end of Christmas, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit heavy, train, 3-week fight camps, not 2 weeks once you take the week of travel and fight week out of it. But then the whole show got moved back a month. So I'm not sure why. I think it was because maybe every fighter felt the same, that 3 weeks wasn't really ideal.
They're probably worried
So they
about.
moved it back a
Yeah.
month, and we said perfect. And we had a look at the name they gave us, and within an hour we were like, yeah, let's do this.
Perfect. Yeah, I was gonna ask because as a manager myself now, I'm just like always impressed with the calculated, decisions that your team's been making, and it's like you have been making all these calculated moves, like you said, also like with fighting lesser competition. You feel like that doesn't do much for you. You want to like basically elevate yourself up to your biggest goals. So now you face basically your riskiest opponent yet, and what made you take up this like a challenge of this magnitude at this stage of your career, and what makes you so confident that you'll come out on top?
The biggest thing is risk versus reward for this fight. I think you can spend so much time thinking about what if I lose, what if I get outstruck, what if I get taken down, but what if I win,
Mhm.
She's just been on road to UFC, and she's got a lot of eyes on her, and she's a reputable opponent. So
Mhm.
what happens when I do win? Like, the possibilities are endless.
Like, look,
So yeah,
yeah.
I think my career has always my team has always made my career about stepping up, and I think that on every occasion, I do rise to the occasion. The harder you push me, the better I'm going to be.
Mhm.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, so you're following the Alex Volkanovski mindset, which seems to be a
Us
real
Aussies,
Aussie mindset. Exactly. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, because we did have UFC Perth, and like, just real quick, like that, like as a testament to the developments in the region. And does that do anything to you as well? Like seeing that, and like, does it do anything to boost your confidence as well?
It inspires me a lot. Like, I know all the Aussies that are in the UFC, but I've never really compiled them the way that when you see the fight card, you see how
Yeah.
many Aussies were on there. So yeah, it was really cool to look at it that way, because yeah, Australian MMA is really, really on the rise at the moment, and I've like wanted to be a part of that for a long time. I've wanted, a seat at that Australian MMA table for a while. And knowing that it's so close to me now,
Yeah.
and knowing that I get to train alongside like some of these Aussie UFC fighters as well, and pick their brains and see how they go about things. Yeah, it inspires me and shows me that they were once in a position that I'm in now, where
Mhm.
it's so close. Yeah, I believe that I'm going to be part of that very soon.
So yeah, the goal seems more attainable, basically, and it probably makes
Yeah,
you.
it's getting more
Yeah.
difficult with
Yeah.
every fight.
Yeah, no, I can imagine it makes you want to basically fast track a little bit, So taking on opportunities like this against Josephine. And it's just like, even like I did this breakdown of UFC with Danielle Curtis, and she then we ended up talking about this fight of yours, and she was like pointing out how close it is in terms of like stats. You're both 4-0, similar stages of your career, similar age, styles very similar. So they're like, this is such a closely contested matchup. Like, where do you expect that you are going to have the advantages?
It is a cool matchup. It's kind of it's cool. It's kind of like I have to fight myself
Exactly, that's how the way
to
she pointed
move
out.
to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're fighting your own little demon, which is yourself.
Evil twin.
She's not a demon. No, yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool matchup. I think that I have the edge in all departments. She's I think what separates her from everyone else that I fought is, as much as she's a freaking, bully and shit talker, she does have a lot of fight in her. You can see that, it's going to take a lot to make her quit. You're going to have to force her to give up, which I intend on doing. But she's very physically strong. She gets a lot done through physicality and pressure in there.
Yeah.
But as far as finesse and technique, I think I have the edge in the striking, in the clinch, and on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that I'm going to be physically stronger than anyone she's fought as well. You know, I'm not the smallest strawweight out there, and I can be a bit of a bully myself. So
Yeah, you do have a few physical advantages too. I saw in terms of height and reach, for example, and probably the size advantage. And that's something where I think a lot of people get lured into a not always a false sense of confidence, just a sense of confidence from being undefeated, which I'm sure you have as well. But that doesn't take into account the level of opponent sometimes. You know what I mean? And like this is just going to be a next level for her that she probably hasn't had yet, which will make it very interesting, of course.
I think if you notice when I watch her MMA fights is that because she has this like bullying presence and she's very in your face.
Mm-hmm.
I found that all of her opponents she's fought have backed down to that. They've caved to that. You saw in her fight for Road to UFC, that girl did nothing. She ran away and she circled that entire fight. She landed maybe one nice right hand, but she ran away. She did not engage. She wasn't there to win. I'm going to be in your face every second of the round. I'm there to win. It's going to be very different.
Yeah, one thing you said that I liked a lot is you kept insinuating and then mentioned a finish. Whereas like there's a lot of people that would go into fights, they're like, the most important thing for me is just to win. And then they end up trying to try to avoid risk and everything. And you seem like you're just going to bring it to her, like something that nobody's done yet. And because the intention for you is probably to make a statement on this stage, and like, what better way than to get a quick finish or like any finish, you know?
Yeah.
It reminds me of the first Wilder Fury fight when Fury got up from that big knockdown in the last round, and then said, "Oh, in the last round when I put it on him, that's when I realized, finally found the key to beat him, and that's how he bullied him the second fight." Like that's what I'm getting the feeling of for you. Like it's that you see nobody's tried to bully her back.
Yeah. Us Aussies, you know, you push us a little bit and we're going to push back. So
yeah.
I'm not there to circle and run away. I'm not going to be intimidated by whatever she has to say at weigh-ins or the little staunch she does in the cage or the comments from her team. Like, doesn't faze me. I'm gonna get in there and get in your 15 minutes.
There we go.
Or less.
So there has been a lot of trash talk, which has been entertaining. I mean, it does sell the fight. It does seem from what you're saying that from her side, it's definitely genuine. Like, I don't know if she's just doing it for the views, but in any case, it helps you both. How did that basically come about? How did that start? What did she say?
I'm very confused about it, to be honest. Because what I think has happened is that she is acting out from a place of anxiety and fear, and saying some really, I think she's a very emotional person, and when she sees the little jokes that come out of me and my team, she's very quick to anger and says things that she probably regrets later. She's just, I guess, feels like she's been backed into a little area and this is how she reacts. How it started, I don't know. But let me think. I don't remember how it started. I think it started with one of her interviews and her coach saying that I had nothing to offer on the feet and that I'm not a grappler. So I kind of have no way of winning this fight is how it really started. We made some funny little videos, you know, looking at her striking fights. And somehow she got into it with one of my teammates and she was calling him, I don't know, it was paragraphs long, but she was calling him like a rapist and molester and all this horrible stuff. Yeah. So I don't know, to say that stuff to someone who you don't know. So I don't know, she must have like some kind of temper problem or A few loose screws or something. I'm not sure.
So does a part of you want to like try to play on that emotional element maybe? Because you know they always say you can't really fight emotional. I mean, it could work to a certain degree, but not at the high levels.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think she's hiding behind a bit of a tough girl act in there. Deep down, she's very scared. We're all scared deep down. Like, we don't want to lose. We don't want to get embarrassed. But yeah, I think she's overcompensating a little bit. Making stuff online about me being fat and overweight and not making weight. Editing pictures of me from years ago. As far as that's concerned, I've never missed weight, and I've always fought since I went pro at this weight. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, I think she's just emotional and nervous, and yeah, this is how she reacts about it.
So like in an ideal scenario, how does this fight go?
I think that it's going to be very fast-paced and action-packed. I think when you look from our previous fights, we're both very keen on the knees, the elbows, the clinch. I think you're going to see a lot of that. Yeah, I think we're just going to be in each other's face for quite a while. And if you want to have a dog fight with me, I'm all good to do that as well. Like, I thrive in a dog fight. So whether it's, maybe it goes the opposite way, maybe we both get too tentative and there's not too much engagement. I really don't know how it's going to go, but I know that whether we stand or go to the ground, that I think I have a superior skill set in both.
That's what makes it extra interesting. It's like nobody knows how it's gonna go, even yourself. Like that happens sometimes when both have the intention to like just go after it. They're both waiting on the other to make the first move. You never know. Makes it interesting.
Yeah. She could come out and like I don't know. She talks a lot about striking, but she could come out and try and push me against the cage for 15 minutes. Like, she could come out shooting doubles, which I haven't really seen much from her before. But you just don't know.
Do you keep in mind it was a bit of a rule change, like the unified rules that of judging and scoring that damage over control and stuff like that? Do you have those thoughts in your mind too? That damage means more. Then again, in the Volk fight, some judges ignored that kind of.
Yeah.
So
no, it makes sense to me that damage would count for more.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think too much about it. Honestly, I just think of I know what my key positions are, and I want to try and get to those key positions. In both like the stand up and the ground. So yeah, I can do damage from my key positions. I'm happy.
So do you also have any superstitions? I don't know if I asked you this before, but let's check like any superstitions or like traditions and pre-fight rituals or anything.
Not really. I just like to have my close people close to me. And once the weigh-in is done, I like to go into my own little zone and not really talk to too many people. This week's been it's been a lot of like interviews and podcasts and this and that. So after the weigh-in's done, I like to retreat into my own head and just stay within. I've got 2 coaches here, so I just like to keep to myself a little bit after the weigh-ins and have that 24 hours to dial in.
The 24 hours to dial in, basically. That's good. It's like not too much in your head, and it's like if you rely too much on like traditions and stuff, it's usually if something doesn't work out or if it's a little bit different than usual, people will put too much into that maybe and get stressed out. So it's all about like stress mitigation and staying stoic like you are.
The only tradition we have, and I made sure I packed it as well, I have a lucky scrunchie, like a hair scrunchie.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. And obviously you're not allowed to wear the scrunchie in the fight. So I always take you can probably see it in most of my fight photos on Instagram. I take my scrunchie off and I put it on my coach's wrist because I'm not allowed to wear it on my wrist. And I train with that scrunchie for the whole camp as well. It's on my wrist.
Wow.
So it's I don't know why. It's my one lucky scrunchie that everyone tells me to take off in training, and I don't take it off. And in the fight, I put it on my coach, and he wears my scrunchie, and I don't know, the scrunchie's always around.
It's almost like the scrunchie you wear it in training. It like absorbs all the powers, all the skill and everything, you know, and it keeps it in there.
Yeah, it absorbs a lot of sweat too, that thing.
Yeah. Never gets
gross.
washed though. You can't wash your lucky stuff. That's
Really
impossible.
doesn't.
But
Poor thing.
but so because I see a lot of people. You mentioned that now. You see a lot of fighters that have like necklaces and chains and stuff that they walk out in and then put it over on their coaches and stuff like that sometimes. So
Yeah.
there is something to it. Like
Yeah.
you're not the only one. This is the first time I hear scrunchy though. Yeah.
Well, this fight I brought with me, okay, so the backstory behind this fight as well, and the reason I do know about Josefine is because so Josefine spent a while in K1 in Japan fighting in their promotion, and she fought the current world champion Kana from K1 from Japan. And I went over to Japan 3 years ago to be a part of Kana's preparation for the world title fight against Josefine. So that's why I've known for a long time who Josefine is. And this necklace I got over in Japan with Kana in the preparation for her world title fight with Josefine. Wow. So I brought that necklace with me. It's kind of like some good spirits and energy from Kana from Japan and all the team that I worked with over there as well.
Just like tick all the boxes that are possible to gain any edge, you know? Yeah. I like that's a great story. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you've been studying her for a while. Like you've been at least also talking to people about her and sort of getting advice maybe.
Yeah, well, I had watched her when Kana was going to fight her because I wanted to get an idea on who Kana was going up against, what I should try and replicate in the sparring to assist with the fight camp. And then also I watch all the UFC events, Contender, Road to UFC, and Josefine popped up last year while I was watching it. And I was like, oh my God, I know her from Japan. And then I saw her record was 3-0 at the time. And I was like, my record's 3-0. Like, why can't I be on here?
Right.
So when they gave me the name, I was like, this is perfect.
That's it. Dude, this is like it's getting me excited too because the whole storyline and stuff gets clear now. It's a bit like a movie, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm very confident for you, and so are these next people that sent in fan questions. So let's go to a few fan questions that I selected, and before we let you go. So we have Brioni.Soden. I took 2 questions from this person. The first one is advice to someone thinking about transitioning from another martial arts to MMA.
I know Brioni. She's also fighting the same night as me. So good luck to her. Advice is to probably not get discouraged for the first, I'd say the hardest thing was the first 6 months. You start to think that because you were so dominant in one sport or so good at one thing that when you come to something new and you're getting no wins every day, like you're just getting defeated every day, you can start to think that maybe it's not for you or you're not going to be able to repeat your success in another sport. So my advice would just be to keep showing up, trust in the process, and even if you get defeated in every round that you do, take the small wins that you get each night. Like when I first started and I was always on bottom, I eventually learnt how to get my how to get out of side control, get my knee line back in, and that was a win for me. So yeah, I guess just not get too discouraged, keep showing up every day and committing to it as much as you've committed to your first sport, and you'll start seeing the results.
And focus on the smallest victories, basically. Anything that's an improvement. Exactly. Make it bigger than it is. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. And another one from the same person. So what lessons have you learned in the last 6 months that have changed your outlook on life? Deep question.
Ugh. That is a thinker, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing so I haven't fought since August, was my last fight. I've been very frustrated watching people around me get fights and opportunities, and I've been somewhat annoying to deal with on the part of like management and my coaches, just wanting to get things done. Like, I need to move to the next step, I need to progress. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
I get that sense of missing out. And then out of nowhere, when the time was right, I got 3 fight offers, and all of them were amazing. We had to sort of turn 2 down to take this one. So I guess you just got to trust in that process, that when the time is right. When I was like whinging and complaining about not having any fights, I had an injury. I had a torn ligament in my elbow, and I was trying to train through that and fight prep with that as well. So not getting any fight offers was a good thing for me. My elbow got to heal, and then I got this perfect, amazing opportunity, and I got to do the preparation healthy. So yeah, trust in the process. If you keep working hard every day, your time's gonna come.
Dude, I feel that. I feel that as a manager too, like now with these athletes. Although they haven't been too antsy, but you know, it's like because you always know what's happening in the sideline, and you've probably had the experience as a manager to be like to really recognize how much patience it takes, but that it will come because you know the product you have at hand, the product being the fighter, you know. And as long as
Yeah.
everyone just sticks to their thing and keeps doing their own thing, it'll fall into place, you know. Patience.
Yeah, it'll fall into place.
Yeah. I have both our friends Drop Bear MMA here. Where will you be career-wise by the end of 2024? The whole
2024 is next year.
Yeah, I don't know if she meant 2023 or 2024 to be honest, but it said 2024.
2024 is next year. Okay.
Let's say 2023
So next
first.
year.
Or 2024, let's keep it the way it is. She said 2024.
I know, for the pressure.
Yeah.
2023, yeah, I see myself signed to the UFC by the end of this year. Whether I have to go via a contender route or get signed directly, I'm seeing myself signed and having my UFC debut by the end of the year.
So that means by the end of 2024, you'll be ranked in the UFC.
Well, hopefully, yeah. I would imagine, like, ideally is like 3 fights or so in a year. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'll always obviously aim to dominate each fight. But yeah, I'm also excited too. I'm very young in my mixed martial arts development, so I'm very excited to open like some new doors and see what areas I can excel in that I don't currently excel in. So that's exciting too.
Yeah. Seeing the developments fight by fight, like showing the developments fight by fight. So, Samuel the God 90. How important is being undefeated to you?
At the moment, it's very important. Because it's going to affect where I go and what I do. So winning this fight will send me on a very different path to what losing this fight will do. So people say not to put too much pressure on the result and not to focus on being undefeated, but really I think especially at where I'm at, I think I do need to focus on that. My goal is to remain undefeated and to dominate all these girls. I need to show people that I'm a level above these girls. So it's critical to stay undefeated.
Yeah, so it is very important in certain stages of your career, basically. So because now you're at this crossroads where you've reached a high level where like now you're trying to get into the UFC, the highest level, and you cannot. Yeah. And you have to remain undefeated in your head basically before you get there. By the time you get there. Yeah, and then maybe the pressure drops a little bit.
Yeah, you need to show them something special. You need to show them that you're above the rest. That's how you get in, is by showing them that you're above the rest of the contenders.
For sure.
So that's what needs to be done.
It's like, yeah, being undefeated in a big organization like UAE Warriors, and those organizations that are right below the UFC, that just automatically grabs the attention. It's automatically where people are going to go when they're looking for fighters. And even if you have to be like a short notice replacement for someone, they're like, oh, this is a tough matchup,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it does matter. Two more. First I'll go, Book of Kana. What are your favorite things to do out of camp or after a fight that you can't in camp?
Well, definitely 100% is like snack out.
Of course.
There's so many. My favorite thing is cookies, like like the thick cookies. And they do all the different flavors. And we've been past so many of those stores here.
Those soft ones.
So yeah, the big soft
chunky
Dude,
I'm gonna
ones.
send you
Yeah.
a picture. I don't know if it's the right idea now, because it's gonna get you hungry. Of like this place in Vegas called, I'm gonna shout them out. They're called the Cookie Plug, and I got my friend who I was managing too, like for post fight, like this big box. I'm gonna show you what it was. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you after this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's on my hit list on the day after the fight. But as far as when I'm like out of camp and stuff, I love training. Like I love just even without a fight, I love going to training for hours at a time and learning, just for the fun of it and for being around the people that are there. Training when you don't have a fight is so enjoyable. Like the pressure is not on you. You don't have to perform each session. You don't have to stick to a current game plan or skill set. Like you can learn anything you want. For me, I love doing jiu-jitsu, like pure jiu-jitsu. And I really want to excel. And it's my goal by the end of this year to get my purple belt as well. So I love just like training all the time anyway.
So
really.
yeah,
I'd like to do some. Oh, sorry.
I was like, that's the reason. It brings you back to the reason you started doing the sport anyway. Just first of all, it was fun,
Yeah. Sometimes when you're in camp, that you lose the fun part of training because of the pressure and because you need to perform every day and because you're getting put against people who are there to beat you every day. So sometimes you lose the fun in it. So once the fight's done and you go back to the gym a legend because you just won, I like to just train and be around everyone that's there. There's such good energy at my gym too, and there's so much skill. So I have so many people to learn from every night. That's
great. It's just like adds to the confidence and also the motivation of wanting to go back to legend, as you said, just wanting that feeling.
And when I go back, everyone brings me cookies as well.
Okay.
So like it's great.
Well, I suspect I know the answer to the last one then. Rins Biene, how are you going to celebrate your win?
I'm gonna have a massive feed here. I don't know. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to catch up with everyone that I don't particularly see in camp because I'm at training all the time, working and training all the time. I don't really see my family or my friends too much. So I'm going to go out and see everyone and catch up with everybody that I kind of don't give any time to in camp. I'm going to hopefully I also want to start planning my engagement party. I got engaged last year as well.
Oh yeah,
So
congratulations. That's true. Yeah, I think right before our first interview, I congratulated you. I think that. Yeah,
in Thailand, February. Yeah. So I'd like to start. That's been on the back burner with my fighting at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'd like to start putting some thought into that, and there are a couple of tentative fight offers that we can take depending on what happens this weekend. So. Whoa. They're in the back of my head as well.
Stay tuned. Gonna go try to hit Dubai as well, or not? It's a 1.5 hours, I think.
Yeah, maybe see how you pull up. Sometimes you pull up the day after the fight with nothing. Like my last fight, obviously it ended in the second round, but no bruises, no bumps, no headaches, nothing. And then sometimes, like the fight I had before that, you're just all messed up for quite a few days. So you see what shape I end up in, and yeah, I'd love to. We're gonna fly till like midnight Sunday, so I'd love to do like a quick little trip to Dubai would be cool.
All right, so well, maybe take it to the ground and finish it there quickly. So you try not to get too bruised up.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Maybe think about your tourism. You know. well, at least you've got the beach.
Consider my next day's activities.
Yeah, like don't get in the way. Not like those. I was surprised where there was 2 occasions. Carla Esparza, when she had the most boring fight of all time against Rose, remember? Because she was getting married the next week. People were also wondering, is that the reason? But then there was the girl, Sarah Alpar, at some point was also getting married a week later. I don't know if you remember. And I think it was, I think it was Jessica Rose Clark. It was your country woman was like, beat her up to the point, like she was cut up like it was the worst beating ever. And the ref should have stopped it earlier. And I was like, she's getting married next week, you know? So that's terrible.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd plan a wedding a week after a fight, but
like what's the point of that? For Carla, I get it, because it was like the title on the line. She said she wanted the wedding pictures with the belt. So maybe.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah. All right. Well,
yeah, that was cool. Photos were cool.
Yeah. At least you got the beach, you know? Yeah. Last time we did the interview, I was at the beach. I was in the hotel room. And now you're at the beach, and I'm a bit jealous.
Yeah, beach is not far. Haven't checked it out yet, but I want to tomorrow.
All right. Well, hopefully you get to do that after celebrating a victory. And that's it. Jacinta, thank you so much. Good luck. And I'll try my best to tune in, because I'll be at Bellator. So I don't know what time.
Beautiful.
I think my time is going to work out, kind of. Otherwise, maybe I'll sneak it in on the phone.
Perfect. Always enjoy our chats.
Yes, for sure. Same. Hey, have a good one.